The alien vampire was weakening fast. Until my human blood saved them, the human exploration ship Horizon Drift moved slowly through the outer dark, far from mapped lanes and safe stars. Its engines were quiet, running on low power to save fuel. The crew had been awake for long hours, scanning empty space that most species avoided. This region had a reputation. Ships vanished here. Signals died. Stories spread of something old that hunted among dead systems. Captain Aaron Cole stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back. He was calm on the outside, but his eyes stayed fixed on the sensor display. Humanity was still new to deep space politics, still considered weak, short-lived, and unimportant by older civilizations. This mission was meant to change that. Peaceful contact, trade, proof that humans belonged, a quiet alert broke the silence. "Captain," said the sensor officer, a young woman named Lena Brooks, "we're detecting a life form, very faint." Drifting near the edge of that collapsed star system. Cole turned. "One ship." "No ship," Lena replied. "Just a body or something shaped like one." The bridge went still. Everyone knew the stories, the old species that fed on life itself, predators older than most empires. Vampires, the galaxy called them because no other word fit. "Could be a trap," said the security chief, Mark Hale. "Or bait," someone else added. Cole nodded, thinking. Standard protocol said they should leave, report the finding, and move on. No human ship was meant to approach a vampire, alive or dead, but something felt wrong. "Life signs?" Cole asked. "Barely," Lena said. "Whatever it is, it's dying." Cole stared at the screen. The shape drifting in space was tall and thin, wrapped in dark armor that looked fused to its body. Cracks ran through it like old scars. Energy readings were unstable, flickering like a failing heart. After a long moment, Cole spoke. "Bring it aboard." Hale looked at him sharply. "Sir, I know the risks," Cole said, "but we don't leave someone to die if we can help them. Not human, not alien." That was a human rule, one that had kept them alive on a violent planet, one that had carried them into the stars. The recovery team worked fast. Magnetic fields pulled the drifting body into the hangar bay. Medical drones scanned it from a distance, careful not to touch. Dr. Nina Patel watched the data scroll past her tablet, her expression tight with confusion. "This makes no sense," she said quietly. "What doesn't?" Cole asked. "It's one of them," Nina replied. "Biology matches vampire records, but its systems are collapsing. Cellular failure across the entire body. It's starving." Hale frowned. "Vampires don't starve." "They do now," Nina said. "Something has changed." The alien was moved into a sealed medical chamber. Its armor did not come off. It was part of it, grown into the flesh. The face beneath was sharp and pale, eyes closed, skin marked with faint glowing lines that pulsed weakly. For hours, nothing happened. Then the alien moved. Its eyes opened slowly, glowing a dim red instead of the terrifying bright crimson described in old reports. It tried to rise, failed, and let out a sound that was not a roar but a breathless hiss. Security teams raised their weapons. Cole stepped forward anyway. "You're safe," he said, keeping his voice steady. "We won't hurt you." The alien's gaze locked onto him. There was fear there, real fear. It spoke, its voice rough and broken. "Human, why?" Cole blinked. "Why what? Why am I alive?" the alien asked. Nina exchanged a look with Cole. "Because we found you," she said, "and because you were dying." The alien closed its eyes again, as if exhausted by the effort of speaking. "Then I am already dead." Hours passed. The alien's condition worsened. Its energy levels dropped lower than anything Nina had ever seen. Every known treatment failed. Synthetic life energy caused violent rejection. Stored alien blood samples destroyed its cells instead of feeding them. "This species shouldn't exist like this," Nina said, frustration clear in her voice. "Their entire biology is built around consumption, but nothing works anymore." Cole watched through the glass. "So what happens if we do nothing?" "It dies," Nina said. "Soon." An alarm suddenly sounded. The alien's heart-like core spiked, then crashed. Its body convulsed, cracking the chamber floor beneath it. "Stabilizers failing," a technician shouted. The alien cried out, the sound sharp and raw. "It burns, everything burns." Instinct took over. As Nina rushed forward, a sharp edge of shattered equipment sliced across Cole's palm. Blood flowed freely, red against the sterile white floor. The alien froze. Its head snapped toward the scent. Before anyone could react, the alien reached out weakly, fingers brushing Cole's bleeding hand through the open field. Contact lasted less than a second. Then everything changed. The alien gasped. Its body arched as energy surged through it, bright lines flaring across its skin. The failing core stabilized, heart rhythm strengthened, the glow in its eyes deepened, no longer weak but alive. Cole staggered back, more shocked than hurt. "What just happened?" Hale demanded. Nina stared at her tablet, eyes wide. The cellular decay stopped, reversed. "It's feeding." "On what?" Hale asked, though he already knew. The alien slowly sat up, breathing deeply, as if tasting air for the first time in centuries. It looked at Cole, at the blood still dripping from his hand. "Human," it said softly. "What are you?" Cole swallowed. "Just human." The alien bowed its head, a gesture no one expected. "Then your kind has done what the galaxy could not. You have saved a dying monster." Silence filled the chamber. Outside the ship, the stars remained cold and distant, unaware that something ancient had just been changed forever. Humanity had arrived in the dark not with weapons or demands, but with blood shaped by survival. The ship did not sleep after that. Every system on Horizon Drift stayed active, every sensor tuned outward and inward at the same time. The crew moved with quiet tension, aware that they were carrying something the galaxy feared and hunted. And now, something that had reacted to human blood in a way no one could explain. Captain Cole's hand was wrapped in a medical seal. The cut was shallow, already healing, but his mind kept replaying the moment of contact. The way the alien's body had changed. The way the room itself had seemed to breathe again. Inside the sealed chamber, the alien vampire sat upright. It no longer trembled. The cracks in its armor had begun to close, not fully healed, but no longer spreading. The faint glow under its skin pulsed with steady rhythm. Dr. Nina Patel stood behind the glass with her tablet, running scans again and again, hoping the numbers would change back to something familiar. They did not. "This shouldn't be possible," she said quietly. "Human blood doesn't carry life energy the way other species do. At least not by galactic standards." Captain Cole stood beside her. And yet, Nina continued, it acted like a perfect stabilizer, not just fuel, more like repair material. The alien turned its head slightly, listening. Its hearing was clearly sharper than expected. "You speak as if you are surprised," it said. Nina stiffened. "We are." The alien studied her, then the captain. "You should be. For thousands of cycles, my kind fed on the strongest beings in the galaxy. None could stop our decay. But your blood did not burn us, it did not poison us, it fit." Cole crossed his arms. "Why were you decaying in the first place?" The alien's eyes dimmed slightly. "Because the galaxy changed." It explained slowly, as if each word carried weight. Long ago, life energy had been raw and abundant. Strong emotions, harsh environments, constant struggle. But as civilizations grew stable and comfortable, that energy weakened. Cleaner, safer, easier to live with, easier to live, harder to feed on. "We adapted for a time," the alien said. "We always do, but this change was too deep. The energy lost its edge, its violence, its will to survive." Nina looked at Cole. "Human blood comes from a species that evolved through constant pressure, disease, war, climate shifts." "Predators," Cole nodded slowly. "We didn't get peace until very recently." The alien's gaze sharpened. "That is why you matter." The words hung heavy in the air. The crew held a private meeting in the observation room. No recordings, no external transmissions. "This changes everything," Hale said. "If word gets out, humans become a resource, a target." "Or worse," Nina added. "Livestock." Cole looked around the room. "We don't hide, that's not who we are, but we also don't rush into a galaxy that would cut us open to save itself." "What about it?" Hale asked, nodding toward the chamber. The alien vampire was quiet now, conserving energy. "It's not an it," Cole said firmly. "It's a person, and it didn't take my blood, it reacted to an accident." Nina sighed. "Still, we can't ignore what happened." As if summoned, alarms flared. "Multiple warp signatures," Lena's voice came over the intercom. "3 ships, non-human, fast." Cole's jaw tightened. They were tracking it. The alien stood on unsteady legs as the ship shook slightly from incoming scans. "They will not ask questions," the alien said. "They will take you apart to learn why I still breathe." Hale moved to the weapons console. "We can't outrun them." Cole made a decision that would change humanity's future. "Open a channel," he said. "All frequencies." Lena hesitated. "Sir." "Do it." The image of Cole appeared across open space, broadcast wide. "This is Captain Aaron Cole of the human exploration ship Horizon Drift," he said clearly. "We have rescued a dying being. Any hostile action against this vessel will be treated as an act of war." The alien ships did not slow. Then the vampire stepped forward, visible beside Cole. "I am Vaelthrin," it said, voice now strong enough to carry command. "And I still live." The reaction was instant. Panic rippled through enemy channels, targeting systems locked then unlocked. "You cannot live," a voice replied. "Your kind is finished." Vaelthrin smiled, slow and dangerous. "You are wrong." The first shot came anyway. The human ship shook as energy tore past its shields. Damage reports flooded in, not fatal but serious. Vaelthrin turned to Cole. "One more taste," it said quietly. "Willingly, and I can protect you." Every eye turned to the captain. Cole did not hesitate. He stepped forward and pressed his palm against a sterile blade. Blood flowed again, bright and alive. Vaelthrin took his wrist gently. There was no pain, no drain, only warmth. Power rolled through the alien like a storm. The vampire moved faster than any human eye could track. The chamber doors blew open as Vaelthrin launched into space through the hangar field, armor glowing, energy sharp and focused. Outside, the alien ships fired again. Vaelthrin answered. Human sensors barely understood what they were seeing. Gravity bent, energy folded. One enemy ship went dark instantly, systems shut down from the inside. Another tore itself apart trying to flee. The last ship jumped away in blind panic. Silence returned. Vaelthrin drifted back to the hangar, landing lightly, breathing steady. The crew stared. "You did not weaken me," Vaelthrin said to Cole. "You strengthened me." Cole wiped his hand and met the vampire's gaze. "Then listen carefully. Humans don't belong to anyone. We help because we choose to." Vaelthrin bowed deeply. "Then I choose something as well." The vampire straightened, eyes burning with new purpose. "I will speak your name to the galaxy," it said. "Not as prey, not as fuel, but as equals." Far beyond the ship, signals were already spreading. The age of dying vampires was ending. And the age of underestimated humans was over. The escape did not bring peace. Horizon Drift moved away from the battlefield at maximum safe speed, engines humming under strain. Repairs teams worked nonstop, sealing damaged conduits and restoring shields. The crew moved with sharp focus, but beneath it all was fear. Not of Vaelthrin, not anymore. They feared what came next. Captain Cole stood in the briefing room, staring at a star map filled with flashing markers. New signals were appearing every hour. Long-range sensors caught fragments of transmissions. Rumors, warnings, questions, someone had talked. Vaelthrin stood near the far wall, motionless, listening. The vampire looked different now, taller somehow, more solid. The cracks in the living armor were nearly gone, replaced by smooth, dark surfaces that reflected faint red light. Power rested inside the alien like a coiled storm. "They are afraid," Vaelthrin said calmly. "Fear travels faster than truth." Dr. Nina Patel nodded. "Multiple factions are broadcasting inquiries about us. Most are pretending to be neutral." "Neutral means hungry," said Mark Hale. Cole folded his arms. "They saw what happened. They know human blood matters." Vaelthrin turned its head slowly. "They will not stop at curiosity." As if summoned by the words, an alert sounded. "Encrypted transmission," Lena called out. "Unknown source, military grade," Cole gestured. "Put it through." The screen flickered, then revealed a tall, sharp-featured alien wearing polished silver armor. Its eyes were cold, calculating. "I speak for the conquered of unified systems," the alien said. "You carry property that does not belong to you." Cole's voice stayed level. "We rescued a dying being, nothing more." The alien smiled thinly. "We know what you did." "We know what your blood does." Silence followed. "Hand over the vampire," the alien continued, "and provide biological samples. In return, humanity will be protected." Hale laughed once, short and bitter. "That's not protection, that's a cage." Cole shook his head. "No deal." The alien's expression hardened. "Then you will be remembered as a brief experiment." The screen went dark. Nina exhaled slowly. "That was fast." Vaelthrin stepped forward. "They will come in numbers next time." Cole met the vampire's gaze. "Then we prepare." Preparation came in forms no one expected. Nina and her medical team began controlled testing with full consent. Small samples, minimal exposure. What they found shocked them again and again. Human blood did not simply fuel Vaelthrin, it learned. It adjusted to the vampire's biology without losing its own structure. "It's adaptive," Nina explained during a briefing. "Not parasitic, not consumptive, it reinforces instead of replacing." Vaelthrin listened closely. "Your blood remembers struggle," it said. "It does not surrender itself." The vampire shared knowledge in return. ancient data, tactical memory, the history of wars that had burned stars and erased species. The crew realized they were sitting beside a living archive older than most civilizations. But knowledge brought danger. Long-range scans detected fleets moving. Not one, not two, many rival empires, pirate alliances, religious orders that believed vampires were cursed gods, and humans were now connected to them. One night cycle, Cole stood alone on the observation deck, staring at the slow drift of stars. Vaelthrin joined him quietly. "You regret saving me," the vampire said. Cole shook his head. "No, I regret how predictable the galaxy is." Vaelthrin considered that. "Then you understand us more than you think." The vampire paused, then spoke words that carried heavy meaning. "My kind is ruled by bloodlines, ancient houses. I was not just an enforcer." Cole turned. "What were you?" "Royal," Vaelthrin said, "bound by oath to a dying throne." The silence that followed was thick. "If they learn you live," Cole said, "they won't just want our blood, they'll want power." Vaelthrin nodded. "That is already happening." As if to confirm it, Lena's voice broke in. "Captain, we're being hailed again, priority channel." "Vampire origin." Vaelthrin's eyes narrowed. "Put it through." The image that appeared made even the hardened crew tense. Another vampire filled the screen, stronger than Vaelthrin had been when first found, but visibly strained. The armor was cracked, energy unstable. "Vaelthrin," the figure said, "you should be dead." "And yet," Vaelthrin replied calmly, "I am not." The other vampire's gaze shifted, sharp and hungry. "We felt it, the change you fed." Vaelthrin did not deny it. "I was aided." The transmission crackled as multiple voices joined, overlapping. Fear, hope, desperation. "Our kind is dying," one said. "Share the source," another demanded. "We will come to you," a third warned. Vaelthrin raised a hand and the voices quieted. "You will not take," Vaelthrin said. "You will ask or you will fade." The transmission cut. Hale swore under his breath. "So now the vampires know?" Cole ran a hand through his hair. "And some will respect us, some won't." The first test came sooner than expected. A fractured vampire cruiser limped into sensor range, broadcasting distress. Its energy core was failing, just like Vaelthrin's had been. Nina looked at Cole. "If we help, there's no going back." Cole thought of Earth. Of a species that survived by standing together against impossible odds. "We don't turn away from someone dying," he said again. The cruiser docked under heavy security. The vampire aboard was young by their standards, weak and shaking. Fear filled its eyes when it saw humans. Vaelthrin approached slowly. "You are safe," it said, "if you choose to be." The vampire hesitated, then bowed its head. Consent was given. A human volunteer stepped forward, not the captain this time. A quiet engineer named Ryan Moore. His hands shook, but his eyes were steady. "I'm not afraid," Ryan said simply. The transfer was controlled, measured, monitored. The result was immediate. The young vampire stabilized, strength flooding back into its limbs. It did not attack. It did not hunger. It stared at Ryan with awe. "You are not prey," it whispered. "You are fire." News of that moment spread faster than any warning. Humans were no longer a single ship in deep space. They were a variable the galaxy had never planned for. Fleets adjusted course. Treaties were rewritten in secret. Assassination attempts were discussed in shadow councils. And on Horizon Drift, Cole realized the truth. Humanity had crossed a line without knowing it existed. They were no longer visitors. They were now part of the balance of power. Vaelthrin stood beside him as the ship jumped to a new system, stars stretching into lines. "You did not save just one of us," the vampire said quietly. "You changed what we can become." Cole looked ahead, jaw set. "Then let's make sure the galaxy learns we won't be used." In the dark between stars, ancient predators and stubborn newcomers began shaping a future neither had expected. And the galaxy watched, afraid of what humans might choose to do next. The galaxy did not wait. By the time Horizon Drift reached the edge of neutral space, the pressure had grown heavy enough to feel. Messages arrived every hour. Some were polite offers. Some were threats wrapped in careful language. Many were lies. Captain Cole read them all and trusted none. Human Command finally responded, their signal delayed by distance but sharp with concern. Earth wanted answers, proof, control. Cole sent back only truth. Humans had discovered something rare, something dangerous, and they had done it by accident, not conquest. That did not make it safer. Vaelthrin spent long hours with the crew now, no longer confined to sealed chambers. The vampire moved through the ship with quiet presence, watching, learning. Humans noticed small things, how it stood back during meals. how it waited for permission before entering private spaces. Ancient predator or not, it was careful. "You are changing," Nina observed during a late shift. Velthrin tilted its head. "So are you." Human volunteers were arriving, small shuttles, civilian craft, research teams. Not armies, not harvesters, people who had listened to the early reports and chosen to come anyway. Doctors, engineers, security officers, men and women who understood risk and stepped forward regardless. Human blood was not being taken, it was being offered. The process was strict. No force, no trade, no ownership. Every transfer was recorded, limited, and monitored. Every human could walk away. The vampires noticed. This was not how the galaxy worked. The first bonded units formed naturally. Humans and vampires trained together. Not masters, not servants, partners. The vampires brought strength, speed, and long memory. Humans brought planning, restraint, and adaptability. The results were immediate. Pirate raids near human routes stopped abruptly. Scout ships that tested human defenses never returned. Not destroyed, disabled, boarded, warned. Word spread again, this time slower and more careful. Humans were not feeding vampires. Humans were anchoring them. Not all vampires agreed. A faction calling itself the Pure Vein declared the bonds an abomination. They believed dependence was weakness. They began attacking bonded ships, killing humans to break the connection. That was when the first real war began. The Pure Vein struck a small human medical convoy near a red dwarf system. No warning, no demands. The human escorts were light. They never stood a chance. The news reached Horizon Drift within hours. Cole said nothing when the report ended. He simply stood up. Velthrin's voice was calm, but something dark moved behind it. "They have chosen blood over survival." Hale tightened his jaw. "We can't let that stand." Cole nodded once. "We won't." The response was not loud, it was precise. Human strategists worked with vampire tacticians, mapping Pure Vein supply lines, communication relays, and sacred strongholds. Humans noticed patterns the vampires had missed: overconfidence, ritual behavior, predictable pride. "We don't need to outfight them," Nina said during a briefing. "We just need to outthink them." The first strike hit a Pure Vein fueling station, not destroyed, shut down. Life support disabled but intact. A message left behind: "Leave humans alone." The Pure Vein answered with fury. They launched a full assault against a bonded outpost near a gas giant. Their ships were faster, their weapons stronger. They expected fear. What they found instead was coordination. Human pilots flew tight, disciplined patterns, drawing enemy fire exactly where vampire defenders wanted it. Vampires moved like living weapons, striking at engines, boarding with speed and restraint. When the battle ended, the Pure Vein fleet was captured, not annihilated. Velthrin stood before the captured Pure Vein leader, a tall figure with burning eyes. "You have become weak," the Pure Vein leader hissed, "tied to fragile creatures." Velthrin looked at the human medics treating wounded vampires nearby. "No chains, no fear." "No," Velthrin replied. "We have learned restraint, something you never did," the leader spat. "They will rule you." Velthrin shook its head. "They already rule themselves." That is the difference. The prisoners were released days later. Disarmed, watched, alive. That act shook vampire society more than any victory. Humans could have wiped them out. They chose not to. Meanwhile, other species watched closely. The conquered of unified systems began moving fleets toward human space. Not to attack, to surround. Their message was clear: submit to regulation, share the resource, or be isolated. Earth argued, councils debated. Fear spread among human colonies. Cole received a direct order: return Velthrin, end the alliance. Cole closed the channel and sat in silence. Later, he met Velthrin in the observation deck. "They're scared," Cole said. Velthrin nodded. "So are we." "Earth wants me to hand you over," Cole said honestly. Velthrin did not react. "And will you?" Cole met the vampire's gaze. "No." Something like relief crossed Velthrin's face, quickly hidden. "Then the galaxy will test you," Velthrin said. "They already are," Cole replied. The conquered made its move days later. A massive fleet entered human-adjacent space, blocking trade routes, cutting communication, pressuring smaller colonies to withdraw support. No shots fired, just silence and wait. Cole broadcast a response. "This is humanity," he said. "We will not be owned. We will not trade lives. We will defend ourselves and our allies." The conquered replied with one sentence: "Then you stand alone." They were wrong. The bonded fleets arrived quietly, not just vampires, other species too, ones who had watched humans long enough to understand. A reptilian trader guild, an insectoid research collective, even a small faction from within the Conquered itself. They did not come for blood. They came because humans kept their word. The standoff lasted 3 days. On the 4th, the Conquered withdrew, no victory announcement. No cheers, just a shift in the balance. That night Cole stood on the bridge, exhausted. Nina joined him. "We're changing things too fast." Cole nodded. "I know." Valethrin's voice came from behind them. "Change does not ask permission." The vampire looked out at the stars, ancient eyes reflecting new light. "My people once ruled through fear," Valethrin said. "Now we survive through choice." Cole exhaled slowly. "And humanity?" Valethrin turned. "Humanity has become something rare." "What's that?" Cole asked. "A species that could dominate," Valethrin said, "but refuses to." The words carried weight. Because everyone in the galaxy knew the truth. If humans ever stopped refusing, nothing would be able to stop them. And that knowledge alone was enough to reshape the stars. The final test did not come as a warning. It came as silence. Trade routes stayed open, but ships stopped talking. Long-range beacons blinked off one by one. Patrols reported empty space where traffic should have been. Even pirate bands went quiet, disappearing from regions they once swarmed. Dr. Nina Patel was the first to say it out loud. "This isn't fear," she said during a bridge briefing. "This is preparation." Captain Cole nodded slowly. "Someone is gathering strength." Valethrin stood near the viewport, arms folded, gaze distant. "The galaxy has decided it does not like uncertainty," the vampire said, "and you are uncertainty made flesh." The answer arrived days later. A coalition fleet emerged from folded space near the dead system of Karos. Not one empire, many, ships of different shapes, sizes, and technologies, all flying in grim alignment. Old rivals, former enemies, united by one purpose: end the anomaly. A single transmission cut through all channels. "This is a united declaration," the voice said. "Humanity's biological influence is a threat to galactic stability. The vampire resurgence is an unacceptable risk. This ends now." Cole leaned forward. "You're choosing extermination." "We are choosing survival," the voice replied. The signal cut. No countdown followed. The attack began immediately. Energy fire lit the dark like a second sun. The bonded fleets moved as one, humans and vampires responding without panic. Orders flowed cleanly. Ships repositioned, shields aligned, formations shifted. Still, the coalition had numbers, too many. Human ships took damage. Vampire vessels pushed beyond safe limits. The line bent but did not break, until it did. A massive strike punched through the center of the formation, disabling 3 bonded cruisers at once. Emergency beacons flared. Escape pods launched into open fire. Cole slammed his fist against the console. "They're targeting civilians." Valethrin's voice was low and sharp. "They are forcing a decision." Human command channels flooded with conflicting orders. Retreat. Advance. Protect Earth routes. Protect the vampires. Cole closed his eyes for one brief moment. Then he made the choice no one else could. "All human ships," he said, voice steady. "Pull back, full defensive shell around evacuation zones." Hale stared at him. "That leaves the vampires exposed." Valethrin turned slowly. "Captain." "You trusted us," Cole said. "Now trust us again." The humans withdrew, forming a shield wall around escape corridors, using their ships not as weapons but barriers. Coalition fire hammered into them. Losses mounted. Valethrin watched, ancient instincts screaming at it to strike, to consume, to dominate. Instead, it remembered consent, choice, restraint. Valethrin opened a channel, not to fleets, to its own people. "All vampires," it said, voice carrying across encrypted bloodline networks. "This war decides who we are." Some answered immediately, others hesitated. Valethrin continued. "If we survive by feeding on unwilling lives, we deserve extinction. If we survive by standing with those who chose to help us, then we fight together." Silence followed. Then ships arrived, not in neat formation, not unified, but they came. Old vampire houses, young bloodlines, even former pure-vein warbands, battered and uncertain. They moved into the gap humans had left. The counterattack was not savage. It was controlled. Vampires struck key coalition command ships, disabling coordination, collapsing targeting networks. Humans adjusted instantly, using the chaos to extract survivors and repair damaged vessels mid-battle. The coalition did not expect mercy. That was their mistake. When the coalition flagship was boarded, its commanders prepared for execution. Instead, they were disarmed and restrained. Vaelthrin stood before them, eyes burning with power held in check. "You feared becoming prey," Vaelthrin said, "so you chose to become monsters." One commander spat back, "You're still monsters." Vaelthrin did not deny it. "Yes, but monsters can choose what they protect." Outside, the coalition fleet began to fracture. Some ships fled. Others powered down, unwilling to continue. The war ended not with annihilation, but with surrender. In the aftermath, space was filled with wreckage and drifting lights, but also rescue ships and medical teams. Humans moved among vampires and aliens alike, treating wounds without asking species or allegiance. The galaxy watched, again. Days later, a council was formed in neutral space. Not an empire council, not a ruling body, a table. Humans sat at it, vampires sat at it. Others joined cautiously. No throne, no chains. Cole addressed the gathering. "Human blood is not a resource," he said. "It's part of who we are. We share it by choice or not at all." Vaelthrin rose beside him. "My people will not take without consent," it said. "Any who do will answer to us." Murmurs spread. Doubt, fear, relief. A vote followed. Recognition of humanity as a sovereign equal power. Recognition of the vampire species as protected allies, not threats. It was not unanimous, it was enough. Months later, Horizon Drift returned to human space. Earth did not cheer wildly. There were no parades. Just quiet understanding. Humanity had crossed into adulthood among the stars. On the observation deck, Cole watched Earth rise into view. Vaelthrin stood beside him, armor now marked with symbols of alliance, not conquest. "What will you do now?" Cole asked. Vaelthrin considered the question. "Help rebuild what we almost lost, teach my people restraint, learn from yours." Cole nodded. "That's going to be hard." Vaelthrin's lips curved slightly. "So is survival. Your species knows that better than any." Cole smiled faintly. Far across the galaxy, the story spread in many forms. Some called humans saviors, some called them fools. Some whispered a darker truth, that the most dangerous thing about humanity was not their blood. It was that they could change monsters into allies. And that if they ever chose to stop holding back, the galaxy would not survive the lesson. For now, humans chose restraint, and the stars learned to live with it.